If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Literally, you guys. So let me explain. First, it's free. I am not joking, you guys. It is totally free. 2, there's creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or even your computer. 3, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more platforms. 4, you can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Now, is that cool or what? And finally, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, you guys. So, I have 2 other podcasts with Anchor, and I absolutely love working with them so much. So, why don't you download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. What's up, you guys, and welcome to the official podcast of Education Thoughts with Damian Anderson. So listen up. This is an education podcast where I will give you 100% real, honest, and authentic truth in every single episode. From what's happening in the educational world to interviewing guests and sharing life stories relating to education. I got you covered. So join me on this journey of exploring the education life together with me. Welcome everyone to Education Thoughts with Damian Anderson. I am your host, Damian Anderson. And today I have a very special guest with me. Some of y'all may know him. Some of y'all don't, so let me just introduce y'all to him. He is one of the co-hosts of Future Educators Talk across the state and is the host of the Future Educators Talk mini-series, Frett's Education Thoughts. So I want to introduce y'all to one of my good friends, Andrew Frett. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good. Tired.
So why don't you tell us a little about yourself to the ones that do not know you?
Well, you kind of explained it a little bit, but yes, I am a co-host of 2 podcasts across the state and Future Educators Talk, and a host of a mini-series, Frett's Education Thoughts. I'm also a 2018 alumni of Fun High School. I was the public relations intern of Franklin County Schools and an ambassador intern for Raise Me. I have twin sister, younger sister, and 1 brother. However, I was born in Durham, but mostly raised in Franklin County. So Franklin County is my home. So for about 5 years, I was in the foster care. I was living with one family in Holly Springs and then another family in Lewisburg, North Carolina. So basically my main goal is to be an elementary school teacher, because teaching and helping people is one of my biggest passions. So that's my main plan as for right now.
Right. Yeah. And so is mine as well, because I just love children and I love helping people. I've been doing that for my entire life. So this is, for me, it's great to become a teacher because this is where I could help like so many of my students, of my future students, and just I know I'm going to be great at this because, like I said, I've been helping people like from my entire life ever since I was little. So you said that you had been in foster care for about 5 years. And I know we talk about this on Future Educators Talk, but would you like to share with my new audience, how was that like for you being in two families while you was in foster care?
So, as I talked about it in Future Educators Talk, it's a quite different environment than your regular family because you have to learn. Basically, you have to learn everything. You have to learn everything. Plus, if you're living in a new city, because you have to learn where everything is at. But you have to readjust yourself how they do things versus how your actual family do things. It may be different, but you have to readjust and find a way to basically simplify it. Because, of course, they got a new person coming in, so you're going to have to help them learn everything.
Yeah. So I just want to move on and just ask you that you want to become a teacher. And so do I. So I want to ask you, like, what inspired you to become a teacher? Who, like, influenced you on your life to decide that you want to become a teacher?
I would say mainly friends, family and friends. Basically, I don't have a person, because I just don't have a one person. But I will do say that when I was in, I think, eighth grade, I taught, in quotations, my classmates had to do I think it was cross multiplications or something like that.
Okay.
That was back in eighth grade. So that's kind of the inspiration, how I want to be a teacher, because I like teaching.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Everybody liked it. Everybody, they know what they was doing. So, like I said, I don't have a person, because there's many people out there that are like, oh, so and so is my influence. Oh, so and so is my influence.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't have one. Well, I don't have one because it's mostly my friends and family, because they always tell me the exact same thing. Oh, you should be a teacher. You should be a teacher. So.
Okay, that's really nice. Having So I want to ask you this here, like, what is your best tip for like making the world a better place for our children to live in? So, what is your best tip to for that?
What do you mean?
How do you want to like make the world a better place for our students to live in this environment, this atmosphere that we are in? Once you possibly become a teacher yourself.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody has a different story.
Right.
So for me, I would have to learn everybody's story because everybody's story is different.
Yes.
And so, and I would probably, use that to make sure that my students is okay, make sure their mental health is okay. Because if not, then, they can, or if something is wrong, they can always talk to me and we can figure out, what's wrong instead of being quiet and everything, which I don't mind, but at some point you have to let it all out at some point. You can't just hide all your feelings and all your thoughts inside. You have to let it out at some point.
Right. Exactly. I know that this doesn't like relate to of me becoming a teacher here, but I share my college story on Future Educators Talk of where like during that time back in 2019, I was not in a good place that I should be because I was feeling depressed. I wanted to just kill myself because there's like so many things going on in my head. And I didn't want to tell people what was going on. I was just, keeping my thoughts to myself, which is, it is okay for that, but I was having so much things going on. I was just keeping it to myself and it just kind of destroyed me last year. So I had to like share with a trusted person that I care about to, share my thoughts of how I was feeling. So I believe that share your thoughts with a trusted person. So the next question is probably going a little off topic here. So what is the most important thing that you have learned about yourself during this pandemic that we are all in currently right now?
I don't know how to answer that question because I've been mostly working. So I don't really know how to answer that question. Because to me, it's like the same thing, but before all of this was going on. So I don't, I guess you can say, I've been going, I did take a walk. So that's a plus.
Yeah,
so, but other than that, it's just basically the same old before the whole virus going on. So,
yeah. And speaking, you said working. You are working during this pandemic. So how is that like for you? Because you believe you told me that you have to go to work. So how has that been like for you during this pandemic here?
It's quite different before all of this mess. Because we have to make sure in now some stores it's different, but in the store that I work at, we have to wear a mask. We have to and I'm pretty sure every store is doing this as well, but we sanitizing basically everything that customers touch, basically.
Yeah.
So it's quite different than what we used to, before all this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I mean, it's just, I just want to because I know everyone is trying to do their best during this time. The nurses, the doctors, grocery workers, you have everybody who is at the front lines. They're just doing so much. I just want to thank each and every one of them because they are risking their lives for us, and I just want to just thank them for what they are doing during this time. So I want to ask you this: if you could, even if you was a teacher now or if you wasn't, if you could do anything to change the education system, what would you possibly do?
As such, in
we know that teachers, for example, for instance, teachers, they don't get paid enough like they should. For us, for example, we are Black males. The 2% for the African American teachers, it is that 2% that is very low. How would you improve those things in our education system?
Well, number one, that 2% is very low.
Yes, it is.
Incredibly. So I feel like if I was a teacher now, I would impact many students, kind of like an inspiration to the students to, hey, be a teacher, because our 2% is low. That's kind of the reason why we created this podcast. There's that one. There's teachers not getting paid enough, where they have to use their own check. I mean, there's a whole lot of things wrong with the education system.
Yeah.
And we have to, of course, we want to change, but we have to roll with the punches, and hopefully something will get done, something will be changed.
Right. Because I totally agree with you on the and so do lots of other Black male educators. That 2%, that is ridiculous. I know we talk about this on our podcast. That needs to be raised up. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's our I believe our main point of our podcast, Future Educators Talk. We want to hopefully raise up that 2%. And we want to like inspire other middle and high school students to pursue a career in education. So I just, hopefully that will change in the near future. Hopefully that will. And speaking about education, why do you think education is so important to you or to many people today?
Because that's how you succeed in life. I mean, there's no better answer to put it right there to succeed. Because there are people out there that don't have a high school diploma or don't have a college degree. Well, speaking on myself, on my behalf, but going to school in the fall. But they are, I mean, that's how you basically advance in life. Once you get a little bit some education, like either a college degree or a master's degree or a bachelor's degree or even a high school diploma, that's like holding a book or a little a wallet, basically, because that's how you get jobs or get promoted at your job. So it's really important, and I feel I keep on questioning myself when we have students that drop out of high school because they think school is hard.
Yeah.
And to me, school is not hard. It's just that you have to put the effort, hard working into that. So
absolutely. Absolutely. You can't just give up just yet. You just can't. I know that school may be hard for some students, but you can't give up. You can't give up. If you want that degree so bad, that diploma, you just gotta keep on going down the road. You can't just stop there just yet. That's what I believe in. So I want to ask you this here, like, what has been your biggest failure, even this year or possibly last year? And why do you think that had happened to you, that biggest failure?
Biggest failure?
Yeah. Anything
for... Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Because I'm trying to think here. My biggest failure. From last year?
Possibly last year. Yeah, either this year or last year. Anything that really just like infected you, anything big, any something just like unexpected?
My biggest failure is my car, my old car that broke down on me. But that was like I think it was like 2 months ago of this year. So I guess you can count that as my biggest failure.
Yeah.
Because it was running fine until I was driving home from work, and it decided to give up. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So another, I want to, from your biggest failure, what has been the biggest possibly surprise for you in the last few months or this year, last year, and why do you think that was quite your biggest surprise ever that happened?
Biggest surprise. Mm, biggest surprise. Well, I guess me getting a job last year was the biggest surprise because, um, I again that's basically what I talked about um before. Once you get that diploma, and you know, that's when you can start getting jobs and stuff like that. So, and I spent almost 3 years looking for a job, literally 3 years. And so I feel like that's a good accomplishment. And now I can get stuff that I wanted to do.
Right. So before you, after you retire from teaching, you plan on becoming an anchor or a meteorologist. I always have hard time saying this, meteorologist. So I just want to ask, like, what's kind of like inspire you to become those things once you finish with teaching?
Because I watch the news. Yes, I'm that type of person that watches the news every morning. Well, not really every morning, but every night. And they tell, of course, they tell like stories. There may be some sad stories. There may be some good stories. So I feel like that would be a perfect fit for me because, again, every story is different, and actually share their story out there to the viewers.
Yes.
That's the anchor side part of it. The meteorologist side of it is the I like watching the weather and actually watching the weather, looking at the weather, either outside or either on my on the weather app. And to let people know, hey, there's a tornado warning, hey, there's this and this and this, so that they can be prepared. So those are the two reasons why I picked anchor slash meteorologist.
Right. Speaking of that, one of my best friends, he wanted to become a meteorologist because he was so, like you just mentioned, like he watching the weather and stuff. But that has changed now, and he's just like, he's like obsessed with trains. It just that's a different story to tell. But before we end today, I just want to ask you this here. We have two podcasts now. So I just want to ask you, why did you want to start a podcast? We start this last year. So I just want to ask you, like, why did you want to start like doing podcasting all of a sudden?
Well, it was. I feel like it needs to be heard because not a lot of people. Um, not a lot of people. If I can speak on today, not a lot of people is not hearing this, not hearing the topics that educators are not talking about. So I feel like if we share those topics out there, then basically our voice will be heard.
Yes.
So that way we can start seeing some progress.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I wanted to start a podcast.
Yes. I totally agree with you because now more than ever, our voice needs to be heard. And I was like, when you had mentioned me about this last year of starting a podcast, I was like to myself, like, why in the world do people want to like hear my voice, hear me speak? Ho and Tyrone want to hear me speak. Like, why is that kind of like important to doing podcasts? And besides, most people know that I am shy and I don't talk much. So like, why I was thinking like, why would people want to hear my voice? But I eventually came over that. Like, I am more confident now of speaking, sharing my voice out, because like you said, we talk about on our podcast, we talk about topics that no educator wants to talk about. They don't even mention it about it. So we are doing it on our podcast. We are doing a great job with it. We are currently in our third season, and now I feel more confident of just sharing it out with everyone. And I'm just so glad that we started this last year, and we continue doing this for even more seasons to come. So I would like to thank you so much for coming on my podcast today. It was really great for having you on today. So thank you so much, Andrew.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, it was my pleasure. So where can people follow Andrew Frett?
You can follow me on my Instagram page at it's Andrew Frett, and you can follow me on Twitter at Darren_Frett.
All right. Again, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. My very first guest, actually, so thank you so much. I have even more guests coming on this season of Education Thoughts with Damian Anderson, so y'all make sure y'all tune in every Friday to who I am interviewing. So thank you so much. I will catch y'all next time on Education Thoughts with Damian Anderson. Take care, and remember to wash your hands. Please wash your hands.